Hey there guys, it's Joey. So this is this week's Ogham reading. I am behind in the Ogham readings, I'm behind in all the videos. I've explained that already on other videos, so apologies for being behind, but I decided in the end best just to leave it last week and carry on again this week. So this week's Ogham reading is for Miss Annika Garratt. Again, if you want to put yourself forward for a free Ogham reading like this, pop your name down below and I just pick them at random from a hat, and it's my way of giving back to say thank you. It's something I can do, and it also helps me to connect with the Ogham in a divinational sense. So going from that, you know, it's much easier for me to record them. I can make them public or not depending on your preference. Right, so for Miss Annika, as usual, we have this setup of 7 divinational tools, 3 staves and 4 cards of the Ogham variety. I go with the number 7 as it is my intuition to do so, and it has always been my intuition to do so. It's also the number of the shaman and that sort of shapeshifter energy, so looking at past, present and future, and the number works quite well as we move through, the first few being about the past, the first, and then into the centre, and then into the middle, onwards from the middle into the future. So to start with, in the past we have aspen or white poplar, known as Ida, which is reversed. And when Ida is reversed, it's about being paralysed by fear, by doubt. Now, Ida is about the whisperings, so it's very much about the little voices which basically hold us in place because of doubt and fear, in the reversed position in particular. There's an element of voices from the divine with Ida, but when it's reversed, it can sort of suggest that it's our own doubts and fears in our heads, or it's somebody whose voice is in our head, or even whisperings from people that have put us in a situation where we don't believe in something, that we are doubting ourselves, our power, even our path, and we're worried about a certain situation and somebody's adding fuel to that fire, and whether that person is overtly saying it or we just sort of taking situations to mean something negative from it, and those things sort of override our confidence. And again, this is in the past, so this sort of suggests the foundation of an ongoing situation that has been a problem in the past, that there is a tendency to worry too much, to live in one's head too much, to consider every option a little bit too much, in the sort of aspect that we're sort of talking ourselves out of doing something we should be doing, or putting doubt into our own self-belief and self sort of drive, and we sort of hold ourselves back because of our own sort of fear of that. And that is sort of reconfirmed by the next Ogham in the line, which is Gort or Ivy in the reversed position. So Ivy is about overcoming. So whatever this is, it really did have an effect of holding back, feeling kind of constricted. And it may be that this sort of built up to something, like this situation then built up to something explosive. So feeling very hemmed in, feeling very stuck and unable to be yourself, do what you want to do, like you can't breathe. That sort of, the negative side of Ivy, you know, the constricted to the point where you feel like you can't breathe in a situation. and the situation isn't getting any better, and you really want to overcome that situation, but there is possibly this self-doubt or the whisperings of other people holding you back from being able to do that. It may be that people were interfering. Interfering with your ability to grow, to get out on your own, to do what you wanted to do, that there was some underhandedness of people stopping you, and that there's a real aching sense of frustration around the first two. Like people maybe saying negative, nasty things, and it's very much on the down low, like very, very quietly, and perhaps from people who you really would rather not, perhaps family or extended family, and it's having an effect. It's putting that doubt in, it's putting that constriction in the past. And then the next Ogham is actually door or oak, which I often consider like deep roots of protection, very much so. As well as marking boundaries, actually. That might be, oddly enough, have you noticed how these two are sat? And this Ogham has actually turned from these two Ogham. It's turned on its side away towards the future. So it's doorways, it's security, it may be finding a new home. It may be... Usually it's very much about home and hearth. It's very much your roots, like grounding yourself and being very strongly protected, which surrounds the idea of home really, really strongly. But there is something here about the boundary, and I get the feeling there has been a door recently, or in the immediate now, like coming soon, that means that this boundary is going to be set between where you were and where you're going to be. There's this very definite feel of a great big thud of a boundary going down. Very likely that you're going to put that yourself through your own actions, because that's the sense I'm getting. And it's very, very protective. It's probably the best thing. It's taken you a while to get to that point, a little bit like oak is a slow growth, and over time it becomes strong, and it can survive anything. It's known as, you know, it's associated with lightning because of their ability to survive being struck through lightning. So it may have taken you a while to get to the point where you're ready to put that boundary line down, but it's definitely there. It's definitely smack bang in the middle of your reading, and it's definitely needed. Absolutely. It also has a sense of strength, of course, and endurance, so you have the ability to get through, and you are getting through right now the problems from the past, those quiet whispers of unsettling and things of that nature, and you are definitely coming through that right now. And the next card actually leapt out, which is holly or tin, which is the card of challenges and trials, feeling under attack, and taking action to defend oneself. Basically, this card is really direct about... It's a battle card, and, you know, like being pricked by holly, and I think what that is applying to is that this sense of boundary is not going to be accepted very well by the people whom it's necessary to create a boundary from. There's going to be arguments possibly because of this boundary line that has gone down, this need to create your own roots to keep yourself grounded and secure and safe. Now obviously that's going to have some sort of combative effect on the people whom you are creating that boundary from. And that's in the immediate future to now as well, like complications, arguments that may arise from this sense of creating personal space and boundary, which is very, very necessary, definitely very, very necessary from the overarching reading. And then the following card is actually Silver Birch or Biet, and that's purification. And so you've got protection and purification, one after the other in terms of magic, which is telling you what you need to be doing. But in terms of divination, it's basically the new beginnings card, the renewal card, the starting fresh card, the opportunities. It's probably my favourite card. It's my favourite Ogham, and it's so full of hope, new beginnings, possibilities, the freedom to be who you want to be on your own terms. There can be travel implicated. I don't know how far that travel will take you, whether it will be in terms of a physical journey or just spiritually moving away from this ick that is clearly in the past, and people that are stopping you from being who you want to be, the negative whispers and all that, even if that's your own head. So then you need to really cleanse out your own head. But I get a very strong sense, because of the boundary line and then the protection, like, and the argumentative thing here, that this is more about outside influences. It's a feeling of that's probably the case. So the advice for the immediate present anyway is purification and protection for certain. Is there anything? Things will be getting better, by the way, looking at the final three, which is talking about going forward. So Noen or Ash. Oh, this is one that always gets me. I can never remember. It's a card of magic for certain. Your own sort of power, your own ability to take charge of your own energies, transformation, shape-shifting, coming into your own power. I think that might be very much what this is about right here. So this new beginning that you have basically created for yourself, this hope, this opportunity, is then going to be transformed by your own energy and will and power to direct it into something fantastic and amazing. You're going to be able to transform whatever it is that you've been wanting to engage in, the path that you want to follow down in, the transformation that you want to see happen is going to get there. It's definitely about, you know, taking the reins of your own magic, your own inner spark, and creating what it is that you want from that. Absolutely 100%. Followed by Hazel or Col, which is a state of enlightenment, wisdom, inspiration, wish fulfillment. For me, it's very much about wish fulfillment, and that's what it has always indicated when it's shown up in my life. But it can very much be about your own creative talents, your own creative energies, your interests, your pursuits, and getting where you want to be. And that's a really great card to have in the final position, because that's meaning that you've gone through all this to be who you want to be able to be who you want to be creatively, to engage in things that interest you in your own pursuits. And that's a really fantastic card to have in the final position right there. So that's it for this reading. I hope that was helpful, and many blessings.